So this video is going to be about tea versus coffee in India, and we're just going to compare the consumption, and we're just going to compare how much India imports, exports, does that, this, and let's just dive into it. I'm just excited because okay. So on a personal note, before we started off, I'm a die-hard coffee lover. Die hard. I was born in Chikmagalur. My mother is from Chikmagalur, and it's actually called Chikmagalur, just so you guys know. But it's most locally, and so most people across India know it as Chikkamangaluru, but it's actually Chikkamagaluru, which means Chikkamagalu, which means younger daughter. So it's a story about a king who had two daughters. There's another village, there's another place next to it. It's called Hiremagaluru, and this is Chikkamangaluru. So basically, so Hiremagaluru means elder daughter, Chikkamangaluru means younger daughter, and that's why there are two places. And Chikmagalur is the coffee capital of India. So let's get started. Tea in India. Okay, tea in India and coffee in India. Survey India. Okay, history of tea in India. Let's go. India is one of the largest tea producers in the world, although over 70% of its tea is consumed within India itself. Nice. A number of renowned teas such as the Assam and Darjeeling also grow exclusively in India. The Indian tea industry has grown to own many global tea brands and has evolved into one of the most technologically equipped tea industries in the world. Tea production, certification, exportation, and all facets of the tea trade in India are controlled by the Tea Board of India. Okay. So it had colonial beginnings. The British East India Company began large-scale production of tea in Assam in early 1820s. Lush greeneries of a tea estate in the easternmost district of Tinsukia in Assam. Darjeeling Tea Estate women tea pickers. Women form majority of the tea pluckers. So the first tea crops grown there were a variety traditionally brewed by Singpho people. The Jingpho people are a Southeast Asian ethnic group who are the largest subgroup of the Kachin peoples. Okay. Pretty cool. In 1826, the East Indian Company took over the control of the region in the Treaty of Yandabo, which is the first peace treaty that ended the First Anglo-Burmese War, signed in 1826, February 24. Okay. In 1837, the first tea garden was established at Chabua in Upper Assam. In 1840, the Assam Tea Company was established, and it began the commercial production of tea in the region. Beginning in the 1850s, the tea industry rapidly expanded, consuming vast tracts of land for tea plantations. By the turn of the century, Assam became the leading tea producing region in the world. Introduction of Chinese tea plants from very berry. Different from Indian tea, to India is commonly credited to Robert Fortune, who spent about 2.5 years from 1848 to 51 in China working on behalf of the Royal Horticultural Society of London. Fortune employed many different means to steal plants, to steal tea plants and seedlings, which were regarded as the property of the Chinese Empire. He also used Nathaniel Bagshaw Ward's portable Wardian cases to sustain the plants. So these Wardian cases looked like this. Okay. Okay, using these small greenhouses, Fortune introduced 20,000 tea plants and seedlings to the Darjeeling region of India on steep slopes in the foothills of the Himalayas with the acid soil liked by camellia plants. Okay. He also brought a group of trained Chinese tea workers who would facilitate the production of tea leaves. Except for a few plants that survived in established Indian gardens, most of the Chinese tea plants Fortune introduced to India perished. The technology and knowledge that was brought over from China was instrumental in later flourishing of the Indian tea industry, using Chinese varieties, especially Darjeeling tea, which continues to use Chinese strains. Interesting. The tea industry in British India mostly employed indentured labourers, often referred to as coolies. We were all referred to as coolies, like how the N word was being used by the whites against the black people. We were referred to as the coolies to work on large plantations. Although these were in theory willing recruits, in theory, in practice many laborers were coerced or tricked by recruiters to come and work on the plantations. The majority of indentured laborers in Indian tea plantations were women, as tea cutting was seen as a woman's work. Though they received less pay than male laborers, despite often being coerced into producing more. Indian writer Mulk Raj Anand, okay, described the tea industry in colonial India as the hunger, the sweat, and the despair of a million Indians. Okay, from the outset, Indian grown tea proved extremely popular amongst British consumers, both for its greater strength and for its cheaper price. Tea had been a high status drink when first introduced, but has steadily fallen in price and increased in popularity among the working class. The temperance movement in Britain massively promoted tea consumption from the early 19th century onwards as an alternative to beer. Water used to make beer was of dubious quality, but the complete boiling necessary for tea rendered it safer. Makes sense. Many men in particular found China tea insipid, and the greater strength and lower price of Indian teas appealed to them greatly. By the last quarter of the 19th century, big brands such as Lyons, Lipton's, and Mazawa tea dominated the market. Indian tea soon came to be the norm, with Chinese tea as a minority taste. Until the 1970s and the rise of instant coffee, Indian tea had almost stole command of the hot drinks market. Its rivals were cocoa, coffee, and savory drinks. Okay, so this is the history of tea in India. And now we shall go to coffee. Let's go. Coffee production in India is dominated in hill tracts of South Indian states, with Karnataka accounting for 71%. Kodagu district alone produces 33% of India's coffee, followed by Kerala 21% and Tamil Nadu 5% of overall production. Okay. Indian coffee is said to be the finest coffee grown in shade rather than direct sunlight anywhere in the world. There are about 25,000 coffee growers, 250,000 coffee growers in the country. 98% of them are small growers. Almost 80% of Indian coffee is exported. 70% is bound for Germany, Russia, Spain, Belgium, Libya, Poland, Jordan, Malaysia, USA, Slovenia, and Austria. Italy accounts for 20.37% of the exports. Most of the exports are shipped through the Suez Canal. The two well-known, unwashed Arabica and Robusta coffee in Mangalore and exposed to humidity moisture of the southwest monsoon during June to September is termed as Indian monsooned coffee. Its flavor is defined as the best Indian coffee reaches the flavor characteristics of Pacific coffees, but at its worst it is simply bland and uninspiring. Liam. The two well-known species of coffee grown are Arabica and Robusta. The The first variety that was introduced in Baba Budangiri hill ranges in Chikmagalur district of Karnataka state in the 17th century was marketed over the years under the brand name of Kent and S795. Coffee growing has a long history that is attributed first to Ethiopia and then to Arabia. Okay. What shit? To Ethiopia and then to Arabia. The earliest history is traced to 875 AD. Okay. In the Indian context, coffee growing started with an Indian Muslim saint, Baba Budan, who, while returning from a pilgrimage to Mecca, smuggled 7 coffee beans by hiding them in his beard from Yemen to Mysore in India. He planted them on the Chandradrona-giri in Chikmagalur district. It was considered an illegal act to take out green coffee seed out of Arabia. As number 7 is a sacrosanct number in Islamic religion, the saint's act of carrying 7 coffee beans was considered a religious act. Oh, nice. This was the beginning of coffee industry in India, and in particular the then state of Mysore, now part of the Karnataka state. This was an achievement of considerable bravery of Baba Budan, considering the fact that Arabs had exercised strict control over its export to other countries by not permitting coffee beans to be exported in any other form than in a roasted or boiled form to prevent germination. They wanted to control the market. Systematic cultivation soon followed Baba Budan's first planting of the seeds in 1670, mostly by private native Indian owners, and first plantation was established in 1840 around the Baba Budangiri. So there is a hill which is named after Baba Budan. It's called Baba Budangiri. Giri stands for hill. And its surrounding hills in Karnataka. It spread to other areas of Wayanad, the Shevarois and Nilgiris in Tamil Nadu. With British colonial presence taking strong roots in the mid-19th century, coffee plantations flourished for export. The culture of coffee thus spread to South India rapidly. Initially, Arabica was popular, however, as a result of serious infestation caused by the species by coffee rust. An alternative of this species by coffee rust. This was like an infestation by this species, which gave birth to an alternative robust species of coffee appropriately named as Robusta, and another hybrid between Liberica and Arabica. A rust-tolerant hybrid variety of Arabica tree became very popular. This is the most common variety of coffee that is grown in the country, with Karnataka alone accounting for 70% of the production for this variety. In 1942, the government decided to regulate the export of coffee and protect the small and marginal farmers by passing the Coffee 7 Act of 1942, under which the Coffee Board of India got established. There is Tea Board of India, Coffee Board of India, operated by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Okay, over the last 50 years, coffee production in India has grown by over 50%. From 1991, economic liberalization took place in India, and the industry. Okay, let's go to the Tea Board of India. Formation 1st April 1954. 70 years ago. Under the control of the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, established to promote the cultivation, processing and domestic trade as well as export of tea from India. It was established by the enactment of the Tea Act in 1953 with its headquarters in Kolkata, formerly Calcutta. Global offices. Currently, Tea Board has only one office located at Moscow. Undertake the various promotional measures to boost the export of Indian tea. Oh wait, it says it has one in London, United Kingdom, Moscow, Russia, Dubai, in UAE. Nice. So the parent organization is Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. Pretty cool. Coffee Board of India is an autonomous organization managed by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. It was established in 1942. Head office of Coffee Board is situated in Bengaluru. Coffee Board of India was established by an Act of Parliament in 1942. So yeah, they take care about so the tea board and the coffee board, they basically take care of like the standardization, the for different kinds of coffee, different kinds of tea, so that it is not like meddled with, and there is a proper standard for the export which goes ahead and things like that, and they basically help. So they basically help and convey the overall feelings and sentiments of the small and marginal growers. So all these boards are majorly created to be able to protect them, to be able to because as small and marginal farmers individually, they're not able to fight with anybody. Let's say a bigger farmer or a bigger organization comes and they can easily just walk over you. So that's why they create a board, so that all of these guys are in one place and all of them have like a representation that they can convey any of their thoughts and anything that basically bothers them. Okay. Coffee production in India. India is the world's 7th largest producer of coffee. The majority, okay. In 2024, India's coffee production was estimated at 374,000 metric tons. 374,000 metric tons. So annual average production of coffee in India is 350 to 400 kgs per acre. India's coffee exports reached $1.29 billion, which is almost double the amount in 2020-2021. In 2023-24, it reached $1.29 billion. Coffee consumption in India. Okay, there's a Coffee Board of India's some PDF is there of 80 pages, but we don't have to go through the 80 pages. Yeah, executive summary is focused on understanding the consumption volumes and patterns as well as different coffee habits. Okay. Estimates overall coffee consumption at 91,000 ton green bean equivalent in 2023, up from 84,000 in 2012, which is mainly attributed to increased consumption at home, with higher penetration of instant coffee and higher consumption out of home in cafes across the country. As many as 84% prefer tea and coffee as beverage, with the remaining split between milk-based products and fruit juices. 44% of the sampled consumers drink coffee regularly. This is like a sample survey which is conducted. So, okay, there's a World Coffee Portal. There's an article about India's coffee. All rise for India's fastest growing coffee industry. India is a country on the rise. In April 2023, the South Asian national officially overtook China as the world's most populous country, and more than half of its 1.43 billion citizens are currently under the age of 30. True. Marking their mark on the global stage, Indian origin CEOs now run some of the world's most valuable and influential companies. Microsoft Satya Nadella, Google's Sundar Pichai, Novartis' Vasant Narasimhan, and of course Starbucks' Lakshman Narasimhan. With Indians consuming an estimated 4.3 trillion rupees or 51.5 billion of coffee, the dollars of coffee every year, it is easy to see why international coffee chains see huge opportunities in the country. Okay, tea consumption in India. The average person in India drinks around 840 grams of tea per year. Tea production in India. India is the second largest tea producer in the world. The majority of India's tea is produced in northern part of the country, with Assam being the largest producer. So you have India's tea production stood at 1382 million kgs. So that's 1382,000 tons. So coffee production is like 374,000 metric tons, and tea production is three times that, 1382,000 million tons. Very cool. What is the size of the tea industry in India? It is $10.5 billion. Damn. Coffee research and development efforts are well organized in India through its Coffee Research Institute. Nice. Where is this? Which is considered a premium research station in Southeast Asia. Wikipedia does not have an article with this exact name. There you go. Coffee Research in India, Central Coffee Research Institute, CCRI, Balehonnur in Chikmagalur. Is there a Tea Research Institute? Oh yes, of course. Tea Research Association is there. Toklai Tea Research Institute. Toklai Tea Research Institute of the Tea Research Association is an Indian prime tea research institute developed for the development of tea and its agricultural practices, located in Jorhat, Assam. Founded in 1911, it is the world's largest and oldest tea research institute. Amazing. In Assam, tea drinkers versus coffee drinkers. Whew. According to the National Sample Survey Organization, India consumes 15 times more tea than coffee. In North India, tea has become the main daily drink there, both in urban and rural areas. Okay, tea consumption in India has increased consistently over the years. It was approximately 1.1 billion kilograms in 2021. In comparison, coffee consumption amounted to 1,210,000 60 kilogram bags. Well, as we see the numbers, we can tell that there are way too many tea drinkers in India compared to coffee drinkers. But to each his own. So thank you for watching. Hope you learned something new about coffee and tea in India and the numbers at which it runs, and this can be the exit, but I will go through the tea production in the world and tea producing countries. Okay, the world's top tea producing countries are China, India, Kenya and Sri Lanka. China is the world's largest tea producer, accounting for up to 40% of global tea production. China is known for its high quality tea leaves, and India is the world's second largest tea producer, Assam and Darjeeling. But actually 70% of India's tea is consumed within the country. Kenya is world's third largest tea producer, and Sri Lanka is one of the top. So it's basically, they're telling it might be fourth. But other tea producing countries, Turkey, Indonesia, Vietnam and Japan. And coffee producing countries in the world, Brazil is the world's top coffee producer, according to 39% of the world's coffee. Brazil, for over 150 years, it's been the top. Wow, is ideal. The climate is ideal for growing coffee beans. Top 10 coffee producing countries: Brazil, Vietnam, Cambodia, Indonesia, Ethiopia, Mexico, India. Look at this map. What do they even know, bro? Damn, look at that map. How is that India? Screw you. So thank you so much for watching. Please do share it and support the channel. Thank you.